So Batman The Long Halloween Part 2 is out. And just like Part 1, I did a review, so I got a screener of this, and obviously here's my review of it, I guess you could say. Non-spoilers as possible here, because I don't want to spoil the ending. I don't want to spoil who Holiday was, you know, the Holiday Killer and all this good stuff. I don't want to get into that. I want to just talk about how good this was. I really liked Part 1, and I'm not someone that was familiar with the comic. Sue me, right? I'm British. I grew up with 2000 AD, the Beano and Dandy and things like that, right? I'm a 2000 AD comic guy, first and foremost, and then Top Cow, Dark Horse, DC, Marvel, later. So I didn't grow up with the comic. It wasn't something I was familiar with, and Part 1 was utterly fantastic. I did, however, grow up with Batman the Animated Series, and in my review of The Long Halloween Part 1, one of my major comparisons here was that although it's not the same world. It's not a continuation of Batman the Animated Series. There is definitely that feel there. There's definitely that vibe. And they got very close, I believe, to that form of animation style. It's not the same, but could you compare it to something like an homage of that? Yeah. And Batman The Long Halloween Part 2 is equally as great. It's a very, very, very good film. Obviously, they are two-parters, 1 and 2. I'm trying to find the exact runtime of this. I can't remember it. I think it's about an hour and a half, if I remember rightly off the top of my head. Yeah, about an hour and a half. The pacing's great, and it was for the first one. I definitely understand why they split this into two parts. Like, you wouldn't want to watch this back-to-back. And even if you did watch it back-to-back, I don't think that would have changed much, because there's a time jump in between Part 1 and Part 2. There is quite a reasonably big leap in time, and it's important for the narrative anyway, but you wouldn't want to watch them back to back. But anyway, pacing, great. Very, very, very good. And I've got to praise the voice actors here. You got Jensen Ackles, and I said this in my Part 1 review. Jensen Ackles is a really good Batman. He does a really good job. He's no Kevin Conroy, right? But he does a good job. And you've got Josh Duhamel as Harvey Dent, Two-Face. He's really good. He's the thing that actually sells this. So much. So much. Troy Baker does the Joker, and he's done it before. He did a really, really good job. Like, he's very, very good as the Joker. Apparently he has done it before. I think he was in the Arkham games, if I remember rightly. He brings that voice to life with such sort of malevolence and sort of nefarious glee. He really pushes it to the extremes. Think of like Mark Hamill's Joker, which was, again, groundbreaking, right, for the animated series. Think of that, but ramp it up to a 10 in terms of the sort of sadistic nature of it. That's the kind of voice acting I think that Troy Baker brings. Now, in terms of how it sort of plods along and the sort of, I guess narrative, because I'm trying to review it for people that haven't seen it or haven't read the comic. So I'm trying to be very careful with my wording on non-spoilers. For those that are looking for a mystery, I think you'll get one here. Like, right up until the very end, I had no idea who Holiday was. I had absolutely no idea who Holiday was, the Holiday Killer. That was fantastic. It was good to be surprised for a change. But in terms of the motivations of these people, right? Because this is also the story, the origin story of Two-Face. And in terms of the motivations of these characters, I can absolutely see the motivation. I can see how they were motivated to do what they did. Two-Face becoming Two-Face. I can see the motivation. I can see the motivation of the Holiday Killer. I'm not saying whether they are one and the same or not, but again, trying to keep it as non-spoilers as possible. Poison Ivy was an interesting addition. I think that they should have hammed her up a little bit more. That's one of my major gripes with this, was Poison Ivy should have been hammed up a little bit more. Scarecrow was a bit disappointing. Not terrible, but a bit disappointing. Could have been a bit better. They had the Mad Hatter, played by John DiMaggio. Mad Hatter was funny. Very, very funny. I did like that addition. Now, this obviously follows Batman in his early days as well as he's becoming a detective. And again, I can see how things moved forwards and how he became the detective that he needed to be to save Gotham City and fight the crime that was happening in Gotham City. It builds on that really nicely. DC have absolutely outdone themselves with this. They really have. they'd be hard pressed to top this. And I know they've got some other Batman movies in the works that are... I think there was even a new Batman series announced. I really liked this. I really, really liked it. I thought the animation was just great. I know some people really didn't like the animation of part 1. And for me, it landed. It landed very, very nicely. I like the fact that they didn't try to include anything like Harley Quinn or anyone like that. Good. Good. They showed relatively obscure characters. Calendar Man was there. Scarecrow, not relatively obscure, but, doesn't always get the limelight. Poison Ivy, relatively obscure, doesn't always get the limelight. Solomon Grundy turned up, again, because he was in part 1. Nice to see him, although sad to see him led astray, I guess, because part 1 had a nice interaction with him. It's a bit of a shame that they went that way, but they were going to. Of course, it's Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday. Why would he not? So I enjoyed it a lot. I thought Alistair Duncan did a really good job as Alfred as well. Enjoyed this. This was good. DC knows how to make good animated movies, shows, whatever you want to call them. They know how to do it. So if you've seen it, let me know what you think. If you are familiar with the story, please don't put spoilers down below, because of course, some people, this will be their first interaction with that storyline, much like it was mine, and you wouldn't want to get spoiled. It's not fair. So I had a good time with this. I hope you did too if you've seen it. I'm not overly sure when it releases. I'm sure it'll be literally in the next few days. These screeners don't come out until it's basically out anyway, so it's not that advanced. Cheers, DC and Warner Brothers. Never mind. But let me know what you think down below in the comment section. What did you think of part 1? Were you a fan of the animation or not? Love to hear any and all thoughts, so drop them down below in the comments. If you are new here, please do hit subscribe. You stayed this long, you clearly enjoyed the review. Also, side note, ladies and gents, in the description box right now is a link to my PO box. Yes, it's a new thing here on the channel. I am going to be doing a separate video just explaining why, but I had loads of people asking me to set one up, so I've set one up. If you want to send me anything, please do. Love sour candy. Send me some sour candy. Send things for Jasper. Jasper's a dude. And I want to make it a part of the channel. I want to do a mailbag thing, whether it be terrible mail or good mail, whatever. I think it'd be good fun. And if you have any car bits that would go on my cars, I have a second car channel down below in the description box. That's always appreciated too. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Take care.